Hello, welcome to Do It Yourself with Wayne. Today we've got a broken window and we're going to show you how to replace that. This is obviously a garage door. It's in our basement. This type of window is not like what you'd have in most of your houses. It has a piece of trim here that holds the window pane in. It's just a single pane window. But that's what we're going to show you how to fix today. Now a few tools here and things that I brought for this project. First off is tape. What you want to do is put tape over your glass. And the reason you do that, if that glass happens to break while you're working on it, the tape holds the pieces together so you don't have stuff falling out and hitting the floor and busted into a gazillion pieces. It just helps hold things together, makes it a little bit safer job for you. But just about any kind of tape will work. This is black electrical tape. It's a little bit expensive of tape for this kind of a project, but if you've got it and that's all you got, it'll work. We got duct tape. It's good sticky tape. It works well for about anything. Masking tape. This is what we're going to be using. Most people, if you have masking tape, it's not quite this wide, but masking tape works really good for this. This is just a package sealing tape. It's just a clear tape, kind of like a Scotch tape, but it's a good tape for this as well. Now I brought this out to show as an example, but this is your blue painter's tape. If you've got blue painter's tape or painter's tape of some sort, don't use this. The blue painter's tape has a low tack, which basically means it don't stick really good. And when you're painting something, that's important because you got to take this tape off. You want it to come off easily when you're through painting. So you don't want something that'll come off easily. So if you got painter's tape, save it for your painting projects. Some other tools that I brought: small ball peen hammer. You don't want a big hammer because you're going to be driving small nails, and plus you're going to be working right next to your glass. You don't want to break it. I got a putty knife, not a nice edge on it. That'll help us for getting the old trim work off. And I also brought this putty knife. It can also be used for cleaning things, and we may need to clean the edges or something, or getting under the trim to get it off. It's good to have. Brought a couple pair of pliers. These are actually called duckbill pliers. This is needle nose pliers. It's not really a big deal that you got one style over the other. But when you start driving your nails back in to install your glass, you're going to be using little finishing nails. You may use the ones you pulled out. You may use new ones. But it helps to have a pair of pliers that hold those little nails. You can use your fingers, and it's not that I'm worried about hitting my fingers with the hammer. I've done that plenty of times before, and I don't want to do it again. But if you got a pair of pliers, you can hold that nail more securely and actually do a better job than you can with your fingers. And the other thing we got is our new pane of glass. Okay, I can tell you from experience, be real careful. You don't want to break this before you get it in the door. Been there, done that. But we're going to set this out of our way so you won't see it for a while until we're ready to put it back in, because I want to make sure I don't turn around and hit it with something and break it. But that's basically what where we're at with this. So now we're going to proceed. We're going to take our masking tape and we're going to tape this up. That's going to be the next step. Okay, we're getting ready to tape up our window. We ran into a little problem already. When you're doing DIY stuff, this is not at all uncommon. I start to use our masking tape, and this stuff is so old we can't even get it to unroll. So instead of using the masking tape, we're going to use the package sealing tape. Like I said earlier, it doesn't really matter what kind of tape you use, just as long as it's a tape that sticks really good, and I know this stuff sticks good. So we're just going to take this, we're going to put it on the side. I have to cut it with my knife. And we're not going to completely cover the glass, but we're going to cover a good percentage of it. Just because if it breaks, we don't want pieces going everywhere. Alright, there we go. Now, I'm not going to make you watch all this, but we're going to stop the camera. And I'm going to go outside and do basically the same thing on the other side of the glass, just to make sure if this glass shatters, the pieces stay together. But we're going to not make you watch that part. Okay, now we're going to get these trim pieces out, and we're going to use the putty knife and the and I apologize, a few minutes ago I called this a putty knife. It's actually a wood chisel, but we're going to use these both in getting this out. And you got to have something to get in behind that trim. Now I already worked it in there a little bit because sometimes it's difficult to get started, but take your time. This is the most important part. Take your time. Don't get in a rush, because you'll break things. You'll break the glass, you break the trim. And just as a side note, this trim piece, if you happen to break it and bust it up, just go to hardware store, Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever is convenient for you. This is just molding that you can buy in the department of the molding. It's not very expensive, but if you do break it, you can just get some more from, hardware store. But get your putty knife in there and just slowly work it out. Just be careful that you're not putting pressure on your glass, because you don't want to break it. And right there I'm putting a good bit of pressure on that, and it's not wanting to move out. This putty knife I'm using is flexing a bit too much sometimes. Now that's working pretty good. But you can also use your wood chisel and get that back in there. It's a little bit stiffer tool. Sometimes that'll work a little bit better for you. But I can't emphasize enough, the most important thing is take your time. Don't get in a rush with this. Go slow and easy. And you can usually get this stuff out without breaking the glass anymore and without tearing up your molding. That's got a barcode on it. Apparently that's been replaced before. That's not a surprise. And if you can see this nail is still in the wood. That nail is still in the door. Okay? Now these are in your pieces of wood. They're easy to get back out. You can take a pair of pliers and just grab it and twist it a little bit and back up a little bit, grab it, twist it. Grab it and twist it a little bit. You don't want to use a pair of claw hammer on this, because this wood, it just can't take a lot of pressure. You got to be careful. But if you take your pliers, if you pull a little bit and twist, you can get those nails out without doing a lot of damage to things. That's the only one that was left in this piece of trim. But if you'll notice, I got a nail here and here and here that's still in the door. When I pulled the trim piece out, those nails actually stayed in the door. Can you see this nail in the camera? Okay. Now what I'm going to show you, and I learned how to do this many years ago. If you try to get that nail out and you do this and you pull on it, at some point that nail's probably going to come out, but you got that jerky motion. Your arm's coming across where these bolts are here. You can tear your arm up. There's just all kinds of things that can go wrong with that. But if you take that pair of pliers, you grip that nail real good and tight, and then you twist your pliers. See how easy that came out? Everything was under control. No jerky motion, no chance of you getting hurt. It just comes out real easy like that. Bends your nail, but that doesn't matter. We're not going to reuse them anyway. Alright, let's focus up here on this nail. We're going to do another one just to show you again how easy that is to get that nail out. Now I'm going to try and get that thing out by pulling on it. I was putting a lot of pressure on that and it didn't come out. It didn't budge. Okay, so hold it good and tight and just turn that pair of pliers. See how easy that came out? Everything is under control. Nobody gets hurt. Nobody gets, nothing here gets damaged. You just put the pressure exactly where it needs to be and nowhere else. And it just makes it so much easier. Got one more nail here. I'm going to do the same thing. Just grip it good and tight. Alright, here we've got all four of our trim pieces out. We already pushed the glass out a little bit. Now another thing I did if you look at this glass, this corner over here is broken real bad. There's a lot of little pieces here. And I can run my finger across that right now because of what I did. I took my box tape, which, you know, the masking tape would have worked if we had, you know, masking tape that wasn't old. And basically, what I did was I put it halfway here and then rolled it over and stuck it back. That way we got tape that comes up this side, turns over and goes down this side a little bit. And all those little pieces that are in there that would normally fall out and end up wherever is controlled by that tape. I did it also down this edge where all our, you know, loose pieces were at, just to keep that little shards of glass controlled so people don't get hurt. And this piece of glass obviously is going in the garbage, but we don't have to worry about it falling apart, little pieces falling out of it, because everything is taped up and under control now. You know, the main focus of my videos is do it yourself, save you money, but I also like to put a focus on safety. I don't want you getting hurt, and that's why a lot of my tips go into stuff like this. I don't want people getting hurt. Okay, at this point we've got our old broken glass out. We've got it taped up so the shards of glass don't fall out, and it's ready to be thrown in the trash and disposed of. And now we're ready to put our new glass back in. We've got a little bit of a groove here, a little bit of a groove up here. We've gone around all four edges to make sure we don't have any nails that we missed, to make sure the grooves are clean, and everything's, you know, in good shape for the new glass to go back in. Now, as you're working on the new glass, you got to make sure it don't fall out on you while you set it in there. You know, it can still fall out. So I'm gonna go up here at the top. I'm gonna put my nail in here. Just a little bit, not a lot. But that's going to keep the top of the glass from falling out as I'm trying to work on it. So now we're going to take our glass. We're going to set it in at the top. Alright. Now as you can see, I don't know if you can see this or not, the glass wants to fall out on me, but this little nail we put up at the top is keeping the top from falling out. So that lets us work on it. Now if you got, you know, somebody to help you, they can hold this and that's no big deal. You know, but a lot of folks like myself, sometimes you're working by yourself, you got to learn to do things like this. Got a little nail right there. We're going to pull it out in a little bit, but for right now that keeps our glass from falling out. So now we're going to start putting our molding back in. I think I'll start with the bottom piece, not that it really matters. The bottom piece goes right there. We want it kind of snug. Now I brought nails to use new nails. Brought these. But as I was looking at things, they're too large. So we're going to start out. I'm going to show you how to install little nails. And this is a good application for your painter's tape. Remember I told you just use this for your painting? Well, you can use that here too. Put it right there. The reason you do that is when you hammering around a glass, you don't want your hammer to hit that glass. Okay? So what I've learned over the years that you can do is you get things lined up and you put your hammer against the glass. You don't hammer out here because you might hit your glass. Put your piece of tape there so your hammer doesn't scratch the glass, and let your hammer slide against the glass as you go up and down. Alright, that nail is completely in. I didn't break my glass because I had my cheap painter's tape on there. It's a good application here for your painter's tape, although you wouldn't want to use it earlier. It works fine here. Regular masking tape or something works just as well. Now, because I don't have a lot of small nails, I do have pneumatic nailers. And we're going to stop the camera now. I'm going to go get my pneumatic nailers, get those set up. We're going to show you how to use those as well. But you can do it either way. The nails that came out of this thing, that's one of them. They're maybe 3/4 of an inch long. It's less than an inch anyway. And so they're really small nails. It doesn't take much to hold this trim work in. But if you use a hammer, like I said, put a piece of tape and let your hammer slide against that glass, against the tape. Because if you bump your glass with your hammer when you're trying to nail, you can break it. You don't want to do that. Alright, so we're going to stop now. I'm going to go get my pneumatic nailers, get those set up, and we're going to finish this job up. Okay, we got our pneumatic nailers all set up, ready to go, but I got one good little nail that we took out, so I'm going to go ahead and show you again how we do this with a hammer, because most people, that's what you're going to have. Like I said, put tape against your glass, hold the nail in your pliers. Doesn't really matter what kind of pliers you got, just whatever you got. Just hold it in the wood. Put your hammer against the glass, against the tape, like that. And just drive the nail in, just like that. All the time keeping your hammer against the glass. This is really important because if you're not against the glass, you can bump it and break it. So that's what you can do. Now, if you got pneumatic nailers like this, I really like these things. Just make sure your molding is pushed in good. That one's done. Let's see. Got stuff falling around there at my feet. I think I'll cut the air pressure down a little bit on the compressor. Okay, I reduced the air pressure on the going to the gun because that drove that nail a little too deep. We'll put a couple more in here. Yeah, that did a lot better. Put one right there. Now, I'm not going to do the top yet because I got this nailed to make sure the glass doesn't fall out. I don't want to take that out until I'm sure that the nail or the glass can't fall out. So the next thing I'm going to do is put the side pieces in. I've got one that goes here. Just take the pneumatic nailer, push it up kind of snug. Couple nails, we're good to go. Now I can pull my nail out of the top that I use just to make sure the glass doesn't fall out. Notice how I put my hand between the glass and the tool. Here again, I don't want to bump that glass with my tools because I might break it. That's a good way to make sure as well. Just like we used the tape with the hammer, I was using my hand here because I had enough room. Alright, now we're going to take our other piece of molding. We're going to come over here. Just like we did the other side. There's that piece. Got one piece to go up there at the top. And that was real snug going in, so I'm going to trim just a little bit off the end of this thing because it was a little bit too tight. I could force it in there, but cut just maybe a 32nd of an inch off of that thing and it'll fit a lot better. Like I said, it would go in there, but it was real tight. Okay, let's see how it fits now. Alright, there we go. Yeah. Alright, 2 nails. One thing you do want to be careful with when you're doing this though, make sure the angle that you're shooting the nail in there is not going to hit the glass. Because if that nail hits the glass, you're going to be buying another piece of glass. Alright, there we go. Okay, folks. We got our old glass removed. We got it taped up so it'll be safe to throw it away. We didn't drop it and break it. I was real happy about that. Believe me, I've done that before. Makes you feel like a genius. We got our new paint in. We got our molding trimmed up around it. Showed you how to install your nails using a hammer and a pair of pliers. It works really good. It's just, you know, it's what most people will have. We finished the job up with our pneumatic nailer. If you've got that, they work real good. They're a lot quicker, but you know, most people don't have those tools. But if you do, they work really well. So anyway, that's it. If you have any questions or comments, please, you know, comment below, and we'd really appreciate it if you'd click like and subscribe to our videos. We got a lot more videos coming. Not necessarily more glasses to replace. We don't have another broken one right at the moment, and we hope it stays that way. But you know, we really appreciate you visiting. Do it yourself with Wayne, and we hope you have a great day. Thank you. Oh, I can't do this without my hat. Just turn that off. I gotta get my hat. If I do this, everybody
I'll
will
go get
know.
it. Where is it?
I don't know. All right, we're recording?
Mm-hmm.
All right. How old is your masking tape?
Probably a little old. I don't know for a fact.
If it had an expiration date on it, we wouldn't want to look at it. Well, this ain't gonna work.
Well, all you asked was, do you have masking
I know, I didn't ask the right question.
Well, I haven't used it in forever, so I didn't know it wasn't. That it had already gone to the grave.
Okay, well, we're not gonna use that.
All right, so we got to redo it.
No, keep it running.
No, we've got to redo it because we said we were going to be using masking.
No, we're gonna have an outtake.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.